If spinal tracts still confuse you, it's because nobody has explained them properly yet. Let's fix that. There's three tracts that you need to know. The first one, spinothalamic tract. What does it do? It's responsible for pain and temperature sensation. The way I like to remember it is by saying spinotemperature tract. Spinotemperature. Now, the key rule that you have to know about this track is that it crosses early in the spine. What do we mean by crossing? So, have you guys ever heard how we say the right part of the brain controls the left body and then vice versa? So, the left part of the brain controls the um, right body, or not just control but also sensation. It's because of these things right here. You see how it goes from, like, say, the left side into the right side? This is called decussation, and it's important to know these for not just exam but also clinical practices. Now, the feature of spinothalamic tract is that, the way I like to remember it, is that decussation happens in the spine. So spinothalamic tract. So the decussation happens in the spine. And the rest of it is pretty simple. So, crosses early in the spinal cord. So pain and temperature enters the spinal cord, right? The signals for pain and temperature enter the spinal cord. They immediately cross, and then they ascend to the thalamus through the medulla. They ascend through the thalamus right here, and then they go to the primary somatosensory cortex. So that's spinothalamic tract. Next one, dorsal column medial lemniscus, also known as the dorsal column tract. Now, the dorsal column tract, it does not decussate at the spine. So we no longer have spinal decussation. We are now going to be in the medulla. So the decussation, the crossing over, occurs in the spine. Now, a feature of the dorsal column is that it's got these nuclei. The two medial ones are called fasciculus gracilis, and the two lateral ones are called fasciculus cuneatus. Why are they important? The reason why they're important is because gracilis brings information from the lower extremities, so that means your legs. I think I misspelled extremity. And the cuneatus brings it from the upper extremities. So that means your arms and your limbs, your hands. Now, how I like to remember that is by drawing a stick man, and then these are his hands. So you can see how the legs are more central, right? And then the arms are more lateral. So that way I like to remember that gracilis is central, so it's going to be the legs, and cuneatus is lateral, so it's going to be the upper arm. So what information do they bring? The rest of the pathway is more or less the same like the spinothalamic tract. You just have to know that decussation occurs in the medulla. The information that they bring is pressure, vibrations, fine touch, and proprioception. And there you go. That's pretty much all the information that you need to know. Now, for the last tract, the corticospinal tract, this one starts from the motor cortex. So in the previous two tracks, we are bringing sensory information from the body into the brain. But here, we are responsible for voluntary movement. So in order for movement to occur, the command needs to come from the brain. So it starts from the motor cortex, right? And it goes through the internal capsule. So over here would be the internal capsule. This is where the information for voluntary movement goes through. It then proceeds to the medulla, where again we have decussation. We flip to the other side, and then it goes down to the spine through the anterior horn, and then it will go to the next set of neurons where it's going to go to the muscle, and over here we're going to have neuromuscular junctions where the information is then passed down to activate the skeletal muscle. And that's that. So the pattern is simple. Pain and temperature, you got to know pain and temperature, spinothalamic. The crossing happens in the spinal cord. Fine touch, vibration, pressure, proprioception. The decussation crosses in the medulla, and motor crosses in also in the medulla. That's it. 3 tracks, 3 rules. No memorization needed. If you enjoyed this video, like, share, favorite, drop a follow, and hey, if you've got some extra bucks, subscribe. Thank you. I appreciate it.